the rain, it raineth every day, with a high ho, the wind and the rain, and the rain, it raineth every day.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Wheel of Shakespeare Challenge, our first round for the month of November. Glad to be back with myself, Henry, John, Maggie, and Bill to be performing random Shakespeare monologues and scenes for you, chosen by the Wheel. Before we get started, I want to say Happy Veterans Day to all who have served. Thank you for your service. And that said, we're ready to start based on the randomly There we go. Sorry, I had the wrong layout. I want to have the layout where we can see the wheel and the people. There we go. Okay, so based on the randomly chosen order, I am going to perform first, the first monologue, and then Henry is on deck. He will perform after me. After I perform, spinning the wheel. Spinning the wheel, and we get Valerio. I think this is one I recently put on. I don't think anyone's done this yet. This is the response to the In Sooth I Know Not Why I Am So Sad monologue by Antonio. This is how Solario responds. Excuse me. Okay, here we go. My wind cooling my broth would blow me to an ague when I thought what a harm a wind too great at sea might do. I should not see the sandy hourglass run, but I should think of shallows and of flats, and see my wealthy Andrew docked in sand, veiling her high top lower than her ribs to kiss her burial. Should I go to church and see the holy edifice of stone, and not bethink me straight of dangerous rocks, and touching but my gentle vessel's side, would scatter all her spices on the stream, enrobe the roaring waters with my silks, and in a word, but even now worth this, and now worth nothing? Shall I have the thought to think on this, and shall I lack the thought that such a thing balanced would make me sad? But tell not me, I know Antonio is sad to think upon his merchandise. Okay. Good, I forgot to create the banner for that, but well, I won't make that mistake with Henry. Henry, it is your turn. Henry is now going to perform. Hilarious how hard it is. Cymbeline, Act 3, Scene 3. It's the very end of the scene after Arviragus and forget the name of the other adopted son have exited, and he's explaining to the audience how he stole them from Cymbeline. Create the banner for Henry, and I'll take myself out, and then
I had lost my open source Shakespeare, but I've just got it back.
Okay, so whenever you're ready, Henry.
Okay, 3-3.
Yes, 3-3, the end.
Okay. I have no idea of the context of this, but I don't know if you know it.
Yes, I do. In fact, I played this role before. As mentioning, this is when he's just introduced, and the two sons that he stole from Cymbeline and so forth, and named them, he's given them their own names, and this is where they've just exited, and he's basically speaking to the audience, explaining that, giving that exposition of who they are and so forth.
Okay. My fault being nothing, as I have told you oft, but the two villains whose false oaths prevailed before my perfect honour swore to Cymbeline I was confederate with the Romans. So followed my banishment, and this 20 years this rock and these demesnes have been my world, where I have lived at honest freedom, paid more pious debts to heaven than in all the fore-end of my time. But up to the mountains. This is not hunter's language. He that strikes the venison first shall be the lord of the feast. To him the other two shall minister, and we will fear no poison which attends in place of greater state. I'll meet you in the valleys. How hard it is to hide the sparks of nature. These boys know little they are sons to the king, nor Cymbeline dreams that they are alive. They think they are mine, and though trained up thus meanly i' the cave where they bow, their thoughts do hit the roofs of palaces, and nature prompts them in simple and low things to prince it much beyond the trick of others. This Polydore, the heir of Cymbeline and Britain, who the king his father called Guiderius, Jove, when on my 3-foot stool I sit and tell the warlike feats I have done, his spirits fly out into my story. Say thus, mine enemy fell, and thus I set my foot on's neck. Even then the princely blood flows in his cheek, he sweats, strains his young nerves, and puts himself in posture that acts my words. The younger brother, Cadwal, once Aviragus, in as like a figure strikes life into my speech, and shows much more his own conceiving. Hark, the game is roused. O Cymbeline, heaven and my conscience knows thou didst unjustly banish me, whereon at 3 and 2 years old I stole these babes, thinking to bar thee of succession, as thou reft'st me of my lands. Euryphile, thou wast their nurse, they took thee for their mother, and every day do honour to her grave. Myself, Belarius, am that Morgan called, they take for natural father. The game is up.
Okay, very nice for having been cold with it, as you mentioned. Okay, I should have said who was on deck. It's John is going, and then John, and then Maggie, and then Bill, and then we'll spin for scenes. So John is now up, and it's his turn to perform. Spinning the wheel. Shylock, not a Jew eyes. And I believe it. That's I sometimes I identify the monologue on the wheel by the famous line, so everybody knows what it is. But it doesn't start with that. I think it starts with "to bait fish withal," or I think is or maybe just whenever he starts his long response is where you can start with that. So Shylock, the "Hath not a Jew eyes" monologue. Whenever you're ready, Bill's going to perform Shylock.
To bait fish withal. If it will feed nothing else, it will feed my revenge. He hath disgraced me and hindered me 500,000, laughed at my losses, mocked at my gains, scorned my nation, thwarted my bargains, cooled my friends, heated mine enemies. And what's his reason? I am a Jew. Hath not a Jew eyes? Hath not a Jew hands, organs, dimensions, senses, affections, passions, fed with the same food, hurt with the same weapons, subject to the same diseases, healed by the same means, warmed and cooled by the same winter and summer as a Christian is. If you prick us, do we not bleed? If you tickle us, do we not laugh? If you poison us, do we not die? And if you wrong us, shall we not revenge? If we are like you in the rest, we will resemble you in that. If a Jew wrong a Christian, what is his humility? Revenge. If a Christian wrong a Jew, what should his sufferance be by Christian example? Why, revenge. The villainy you teach me, I will execute, and it shall go hard and will better the instruction.
Okay, great job, John. It is now Maggie's turn, and then Bill, and scenes. Okay, so Maggie's monologue is going to be spinning the wheel, spinning the wheel.
Yeah.
Hamlet, what a piece of work is a man, is another one. It doesn't say. It says, begins with, I will tell you why.
Okay.
Might be hard to find because this is the longest, like, I don't know if it's the longest, one of the longest scenes in Shakespeare.
Three, two, hang on with me then, please.
Yeah. The Rosencrantz.
I thought I had MIT open, but I don't, so I'm going.
I had it's about
scene 2. Elsinore. It's getting there. It's
responding to.
It's a little bit slow. It says okay, and then
wait. You is my lord. We were sent for.
All right, hang on, because I could not get. I'm sorry. So this is when Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are there, or?
Yeah, and he says, I think, my lord, we were sent for. John has his hand up.
The thing is, I couldn't get my MIT open, so I have open source open, and it doesn't do the lines. It does the lines for the entire play, so it's in the like thousands.
Yeah. I believe that it's near the end of the scene, right at the end of the conversation with Guildenstern. It's right, kind of like near the end of it, because that's a long scene. I think it's.
Yeah, but that one also has. Is he speaking to the players?
No.
He's speaking to. It's just him, Rosencrantz.
Okay, I can only hear one person at a time. Thanks. What? I'm so sorry, but at the end of the scene is he's said goodbye to Rosencrantz and Guildenstern, and he says, "Now I am alone. What a rogue and peasant slave am I."
No, that's another great monologue that we have on the
right.
wheel.
That's not the one, though.
It's more toward the middle. It's before the players come in.
Before yeah, that's what I was asking about. All right, first player, Polonius. Gentlemen, you are welcome.
I believe it starts with, I will tell you why, lest your discovery should mar.
All right, I'm okay. I've got it. Thank you so much.
Okay,
sorry
great.
about that.
So yeah, it happens sometimes. So whenever you're okay, now Maggie is going to perform Hamlet's "What a Piece of Work is Man."
Well, you just said it starts with "I will tell you why," and
that's toward the end.
It's not in there, I don't think. But you know what? I'm just going to do what's in front of me.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Sorry if I made it more complicated.
That's all right. I will tell you why. So shall my anticipation prevent your discovery, and your secrecy to the king and queen moult no feather. I have of late, but wherefore I know not, lost all my mirth, forgone all custom of exercises, and indeed it goes so heavily with my disposition that this goodly frame, the earth, seems to me a sterile promontory, the most excellent canopy, the air, look you, this brave o'erhanging firmament, this majestical roof fretted with golden fire. Why, It appeareth no other thing to me than a foul and pestilent congregation of vapors. What a piece of work is a man! How noble in reason, how infinite in faculties, in form and moving, how express and admirable, in action, how like an angel, in apprehension, how like a god, the beauty of the world, the paragon of animals. And yet to me, what is this quintessence of dust? Man delights me not. No, nor woman neither, by your smiling you seem to say so. Thank you.
Okay, very nice. So Bill is going to be our final monologue before we spin for scenes. And he is going to do... Ooh, Duke of York. Tut Tut, Grace Me No Grace. From Richard II, Act 2, Scene 3. This is Speaking to Bolingbroke. So whenever you're ready, go for it.
Okay. Tut tut, grace me no grace, nor uncle me no uncle. I am no traitor's uncle, and that word grace in an ungracious mouth is but profane. Why have those banished and forbidden legs dared once to touch a dust of England's crown? But then more, why? Why have they dared to match so many miles upon her peaceful bosom, fighting her pale-faced villages with war and ostentation of despised arms? Comest thou because the anointed king is hence? Why, foolish boy, the king is left behind, and in my royal bosom lies his power. Were I but now the lord of such hot youth, as when brave Gaunt, thy father, and myself rescued the Black Prince, that young Mars of men, from forth the ranks of many thousand French, oh, then how quickly should this arm of mine, now prisoner to the palsy, chastise thee and minister correction to thy fault. See.
Okay, very nice. So, hope you guys enjoyed the five of us with our monologues. Let's now bring the wheel back up, a different wheel. We're going to get scenes for the ride rolls for the five of us, short scenes for everybody. So Henry V. Okay, this is one I just recently put on, considering that the issue where if somebody has a small role, they're left out. The debate about where Henry, before the Battle of Agincourt, is disguised in the camp. They don't know that he's the king, and he gets into the argument with Williams. And it starts with who goes there. There's three roles: Williams, Bates, and King Henry. And Bates doesn't have very many lines, so that's just a throwaway part. So it's just a filler part. So that's one that I'll just assign. I won't make you use up one of your choices for that, but I'll need. So Henry 4.1, Williams, Bates, and the king. And Bates I'll just assign to somebody that's doing one of the other scenes. Richard II. Okay, there's another one. Three roles, but I'm just going to assign two of them here. So Richard II, Act 5, Scene 1. This is when Richard's being let off to prison. The King, the Queen, and Northumberland. And Northumberland, I'll is a small role. So I'll just give that to and I'll just give that to somebody that was in the other scene. Now, so there's actually 6 roles, but 2 of them are kind of filler roles that I'm not going to make you use up your turn in choosing. That one, as I mentioned, so that's really 4 roles. So the 5 to choose from, and we'll choose in random order. I'm not in random order, in reverse order of the random order that we. So I'll get the last choice amongst the 5. The 5 will be option. You can do. You have the option of Williams, the king, the 2 people having the argument about who's responsible for the people that are going to die tomorrow, whose conscience it's on. That's a good debate. Or the king, or King Richard, or his queen, as he's being led off to jail in Richard II. And the 5th choice will be to do a second monologue. And then both of those other 2 scenes have a filler role that I'll just assign from somebody that's in the other one. So let's see. Bill went last, so he gets the first choice. Okay, Williams, King, Henry, or the king or queen in Richard. So, or a second monologue. What would you like, Bill?
King Richard II, please.
Richard II. Okay. And then Maggie.
I'll be Henry V.
You'll be Henry. It'll be King Henry. John as the next choice. John, what would you like?
I think I would like to opt for the monologue. Since
John, okay, John will do a second. John will do a second monologue. Good. Henry, we have Williams or the Queen.
Williams, please.
That leaves me to be the Queen. So let me create the banner for the first one. So that's Henry. Let's see. So Henry is gonna. So we got Henry as Williams. Actually, I should put the names of the characters on here. I should make that's what the banner should be. So we have let's see. Bill, why don't you? Bill, you can take Bates. That's the small role. I'll just give that to you. And Maggie is going to be the king. Yeah. So Williams. Williams, Bates,
Pretty
and Henry.
far down this. Oh, I'm sorry. I was trying to let Bill know it's pretty far down the scene.
Yeah, it's long. And I believe the line is either Williams or Bates says who goes there, and the king says a friend, and then that's how they're. So whenever you guys find where you're ready to do this scene.
I was getting ready for the other scene. What?
Oh, I'm sorry. Would you like somebody else to take that role?
Why don't
Bill,
you just take it, Mark, since you know where it is?
Okay, I'll
and then you can let Bill do the extra in the other scene, if that's okay. How's
okay.
that? Oh no, he can't because he's in that other scene. Oh, sorry. All right,
Yeah.
I'll shut up.
Well, there's other people I can give the throwaway role in the other scene. So I gotta find it here. Give me a second. I know it, but I didn't have it in front of me.
In mine, that shows enter 3 soldiers and Court says something, and then Bates starts, and then Williams talks.
Why don't we start at Williams? We see yonder at the beginning of the day.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Okay. But as soon as Mark knows where we are, he can let us know.
Yeah, actually, my plan was, we don't. there's court. We can go back a little farther, but then we'd have to find somebody for court.
Right. No.
Williams
Only
says,
that-
it's actually the end of his. Williams has, "We see yonder the beginning of the
Yes.
day."
Yeah,
I think
that's
we
where
should
we'll start. Yeah.
Who goes there? If you
Right.
want to start from there, or you can either start from who goes there, or you can go to the beginning of the line if you want.
Just
I'll go from "We see yonder."
yes.
Okay. All right. So here we go.
We see yonder the beginning of the day, but I think we shall never see the end of it. Who goes there?
A friend
Under what captain serve you?
under Sir Thomas Erpingham.
A good old commander and a most kind gentleman. I pray you, what thinks he of our estate?
Even as men wrecked upon a sand that looked to be washed off the next tide.
He hath not told us this thought to the king.
No, nor is it meet he should. For though I speak it to you, I think the king is but a man as I am. The violet smells to him as doth to me. The element shows to him as it doth to me. All his senses have but human conditions. His ceremonies laid by, in his nakedness he appears but a man. And though his affections are higher mounted than ours, yet when they stoop with the like wing. Therefore, when he sees reason of fears as we do, his fears out of doubt be the same relish as ours are. Yet, in reason, no man should possess him with any appearance of fear, lest he by showing it should dishearten his army.
He may show that outward courage he will, but I believe as cold a night as 'tis, he could wish himself in Thames up to the neck, and so I would he were him, and I by him all the adventures, so we were quit here.
By my troth, I will speak my conscience of the king. I think he would not wish himself anywhere but where he is.
And I would he were here alone, so should he be sure so to be ransomed, and many a poor men's lives saved.
I dare say you love him not so ill to wish him here alone, howsoever you speak this to feel other men's minds. Methinks I could not die anywhere so contented as in the king's company, his cause being just and his quarrel honorable.
That's more than we know.
Aye, more than we should seek after, for we know enough if we know we are the king's subjects. If his cause be wrong, our obedience to the king wipes the crime of it out of us.
But of course, be not good, the king himself hath a heavy reckoning to make, when all those legs and arms and heads chopped off in battle shall join together at the latter day and cry all, we died at such a place. Some swearing, some crying for a surgeon, some upon their wives left poor behind them, some upon the debts they owe, some upon their children rawly left. I am afeard there are few die well that die in a battle. For how can they charitably dispose of anything when blood is their argument? Now, if these men do not die well, it will be a black matter for the king that led them to it, whom to disobey were against all proportion of subjection.
So, if a son that is by his father sent about merchandise do sinfully miscarry upon the sea, the imputation of his wickedness by your rule should be imposed upon his father that sent him. Or if a servant under his master's command transporting a sum of money be assailed by robbers and die in many irreconciled iniquities, you may call the business of the master the author of the servant's damnation. But this is not so. The king is not bound to answer the particular endings of his soldiers, the father of his son, nor the master of his servant. For they purpose not their death when they purpose their services. Besides, there is no king, be his cause never so spotless, if it come to the arbitrament of the swords, can try it out with all the unspotted soldiers. Some peradventure have on them the guilt of premeditated and contrived murder, some of beguiling virgins with the broken seals of perjury, some making the wars their bulwark that have before gored the gentle bosom of peace with pillage and robbery. Now, if these men have defeated the law, and outrun native punishment. Though they can outstrip men, they have no wings to fly from God. War is his beetle. War is vengeance. And so that here men are punished for before breach of the king's laws and now the king's quarrel. Where they feared death, they have borne life away. And where they would be safe, they perish. Then, if they die unprovided, no more is the king guilty of their damnation than he was before guilty of those impieties for which they are now visited. Every subject's duty is the king's, but every subject's soul is his own. Therefore, should every soldier in the wars do as every sick man in his bed, wash every mote of his conscience, and dying so, death in him advantage. Or not dying, the time was blessedly lost wherein such preparation was gained. And in him that escapes, it were not sin to think that, making God so free an offer, he let him outlive that day to see his greatness and to teach others how they should prepare.
'Tis certain every man that dies ill, the ill upon his own head, the king is not to answer it.
But I do not desire he should answer for me, and yet I determined to fight lustily for him.
I myself heard the king say he would not be ransomed.
Aye, he said so, to make us fight cheerfully, but when our throats are cut, he may be ransomed, and we ne'er the wiser.
If I live to see it, I will never trust his word after.
You pay him then. That's a perilous shot out of an elder gun that a poor and private displeasure can do against a monarch. You may as well go about to turn the sun to ice with fanning in his face with a peacock's feather. You'll never trust his word after. Come, 'tis a foolish saying.
Your reproof is something too round. I should be angry with you if the time were convenient.
Let it be a quarrel between us if you live.
I embrace it.
How shall I know thee again?
Give me any gauge of thine, and I will wear it in my bonnet. Then, if ever thou darest acknowledge it, I will make my quarrel.
Here's my glove. Give me another of thine.
There.
This will I also wear in my cap. If ever thou come to me and say after tomorrow, this is my glove, by this hand I will take thee a box on the ear.
If I ever live to see it, I will challenge it.
Thou darest as well be hanged.
Well, I will do it, though I take thee in the king's company.
Keep thy word. Fare thee well.
Be friends, you English fools. Be friends. We have French quarrels anew. If you
Indeed.
could tell how to reckon.
Indeed, the French may lay 20 French crowns to one. They will beat us, for they bear them on their shoulders. But it is no English treason to cut French crowns. And tomorrow, the king himself will be a clipper.
Okay, great. And then, of course, this is where it starts. The big that's on the monologue wheel, so we're not going to do that here.
Right.
And a lot of people have done a good job with that. But yeah, that was the prelude to the great monologue. Great
Thank
scene
you.
preceding a great monologue. Okay, so now we're going to do the King Richard and the Queen. That's myself and Bill, and and Northumberland is leading me off to prison after I've been deposed by Bolingbroke. Is leading Bill, the king, off to prison. I'm a queen, and Henry, if you could, and Northumberland is the jailer taking him off to prison. If you could just take those lines for Northumberland.
Right. What is it?
Act 5, Scene 1 in Richard II. We're going to do the scene. We haven't forgotten about you, John, and John is going to do a second monologue.
Okay.
Let's see. I believe it's the whole. We'll start from the top. It's mostly myself. Yeah, and then Northumberland just has a couple lines. Are you both ready to go?
Yeah.
I am.
This way the king will come. This is the way to Julius Caesar's ill-erected tower, to whose flint bosom my condemned lord is doomed a prisoner by proud Bolingbroke. Here let us rest, if this rebellious earth have any resting for her true king's queen. Soft, but see, or rather do not seek my fair rose wither. Yet look up, behold, that you in pity may dissolve to dew, and wash him fresh again with true love tears, and thou the model where old Troy did stand, thou map of honor, thou King Richard's tomb, and not King Richard, thou most beauteous inn, why should hard-favored grief be lodged in thee, when triumph has become an alehouse guest?
Join not with grief, fair woman. Do not so, to make my end too sudden. Learn, good soul, to think our former state a happy dream, from which awaked the truth of what we are shows us but this. I am sworn brother, sweet to grim necessity, and he and I will keep a league till death. Hie thee to France, and cloister thee in some religious house. Our holy lives must win a new world's crown, which our profane hours here have stricken down.
What? Is my Richard both in shape and mind transformed and weakened? Hath Bolingbroke deposed thine intellect? Hath he been in thy heart? The lion dying trusteth forth his paw, and wounds the earth, if nothing else, with rage to be o'erpowered. And wilt thou, pupil-like, take thy correction mildly, kiss the rod, and fawn on rage with base humility, which art a lion and a king of beasts?
A king of beasts, indeed. If all but beasts I had been still a happy king of men. Good sometime, queen, prepare thee hence for France. Think I am dead, and that even here thou takest, as from my deathbed, thy last living leave. In winter's tedious nights, sit by the fire with good old folks, and let them tell thee tales of woeful ages long ago betid. And ere thou bid good night, to quit their griefs, tell thou the lamentable tale of me, and send the hearers weeping to their beds. For why, the senseless brands will sympathize the heavy accent of thy moving tongue, and in compassion weep the fire out. And some will mourn in ashes, some coal black, for the deposing of a rightful king.
My lord, the bind of Bolingbroke is changed. You must to Pomfret, not unto the tower. And, madam, there is order ta'en for you, with all swift speed. You must away to France.
Northumberland, thou ladder wherewithal the mounting Bolingbroke ascends my throne, the time shall not be many hours of age more than it is ere foul sin gathering head shall break into corruption. Thou shalt think, though he divide the realm and give thee half, it is too little, helping him to all. And he shall think that thou, which knowest the way to plant unrightful kings, wilt know again, being ne'er so little urged, another way to pluck him headlong from the usurped throne. The love of wicked men converts to fear, that fear to hate, and hate turns one or both to worthy danger and deserved death.
My guilt be on thy head, and there an end. Take leave and part, for you must part forthwith.
Doubly divorced. Bad men, you violated twofold marriage, twixt my crown and me, and then betwixt me and my married wife. Let me unkiss the oath twixt thee and me, and yet not so, for with a kiss 'twas made. Part us, Northumberland. I toward the north, where shivering cold and sickness pines the clime. My wife to France, from whence set forth in pomp she came, adorned hither like sweet May, sent back like Hallowmas or shortest of day.
And must we be divided? Must we part?
Aye, hand from hand, my love, and heart from heart.
Banish us both and send the king with me.
policy. That was some love, but little policy.
And whither he goes, thither let me go.
So, two, together weeping make one woe. Weep thou for me in France, I for thee here. Better far off than near, be near the near. Go, count thy ways with sighs, I mine with groans.
So longest way shall have the longest moans.
Twice for one step I'll groan, the way being short, and piece the way out with a heavy heart. Come, come, in wooing sorrow, let's be brief. Since wedding it, there is such length in grief. One kiss shall stop our mouths and dumbly part. Thus give I mine, and thus take I thy heart.
Give me mine own again. 'Twere no good part to take on me to keep and kill thy heart. So now I have mine own again. Begone, that I might strive to kill it with a groan.
We make woe wanton with this fond delay. Once more, adieu. The rest let sorrow say.
Okay. Great, you guys. So, lastly, we had 5 choices of roles, and there were only 4 good ones that came up there. So we have a 5th choice. John made his choice of doing a second monologue. We're going to spin again for him. And then it's actually good that he's going to go last because he had an announcement he had a suggestion he wanted to make for the group. So we'll close with that. So got the monologue wheel back up. We're going to spin for another monologue for John. We will do Mercutio, the Queen Mab speech.
1, 4.
I see that Queen Mab hath been with you.
Let me see.
Romeo and Juliet, Act 1, Scene 4. Whenever you're ready, go ahead.
Okay. That begins, oh, then I see Queen Mab hath been with you. Is that it?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Oh, then I see Queen Mab hath been with you. She is the fairies' midwife, and she comes in shape no bigger than an agate stone on the forefigure of an alderman, drawn with a team of little atomies. Oops. Sorry. Athwart men's noses as they lie asleep. Her wagon spokes made of long spiders' legs, the cover of the wings of grasshoppers, the traces of the smallest spider's web, the collars of the moonshine's watery beams, her whip of cricket's bone, the lash of him, her wagoner a small gray-coated gnat, not so big as round little worm, picked up from the lazy finger of a maid. Her chariot is an empty hazelnut, made by the joiner square or old grub, time out of mind the fairies' coachmakers. And in this state she gallops night by night through lovers' brains, and then they dream of love. Or courtiers' knees that dream on curtsies straight, or lawyers' fingers who straight dream on fees, or ladies' lips who straight on kisses dream, which off the angry mad with blister plagues, because their breath with sweet meats fainted are. Sometimes she gallops o'er a courtier's nose, and then dreams he of smelling out of suit. And sometimes comes she with a tithe pig's tail, tickling a parson's nose as he lies asleep. Then dreams he of another benefice. Sometimes she driveth o'er the soldier's neck, and then dreams he of cutting foreign throats, of breaches, ambuscados, Spanish blades, of health 5 fathom deep, and then anon drums in his ear, and which he starts and wakes, and being thus frighted, wears a prayer or two and sleeps again. This is that very mad that plats the manes of horses in the night, and bakes the elflocks in foul sluttish hairs, which once untangled much misfortune bodes. This is the hag, when maids lie on their backs, that presses them and learns them first to bear, making them women of good courage. This is she. Thank you.
Hey, nice. So since we finished with you, we'll go ahead. You wanted John had a suggestion for the group that he wanted to talk about.
Yeah, a couple of weeks ago, I mentioned to Mark that just as an idea that sometime or other, I mean, at some frequency, I don't know, that we might devote the show to an open mic, to, you know, like if we have something we're working on or whatever, it would give us kind of an opportunity to, you know, if we really think we're doing well, you know, we can, you know, it's going to be on YouTube or whatever. But it would be at a frequency, you know, Mark would decide. And just curious to know, like you know, what others might think of that.
Yeah, I thought that was a kind of a good idea. Like not every time, because we want the randomness of the wheel, and we can always maybe like once a month we could like maybe the last show of the month we can go. Well maybe because people if they like always being random, I was thinking maybe we could have that be a choice. You say this is the last show of the month, and if you have something prepared you'd like to do, you can choose to do that, or you can just spin like usual. That's a thought. And also, maybe to expand our horizons a little bit, if we want to say you have something prepared from a classical monologue, it's maybe even not necessarily Shakespeare, just to expand it a little. It's just a thought. I mean, you guys can let me know in the email thread we have what you think of that suggestion, and also. You know, we've done live stream shows. I've done that. It's not been directly connected with Wheel of Shakespeare, although the last time I did that, I got a lot of my actors from this group, and been busy with other things. But getting to the point where I might consider doing that again, and that's another thing if you have other works you'd like to do of a whole play and so forth. Let me know what you had in mind, because that and what John was suggesting are things that we can maybe think about for the future. But thank you everybody for your performances. I hope that people watching enjoyed it, and let me know in the email thread what you think of these suggestions, and look forward to seeing everybody again same time next week for the Wheel of Shakespeare Challenge. Bye now.